In this video, we're going to give you an orientation about her farm, how it came to be, and everything you need to know about her farm. In part 2, we'll talk about some more practical matters, things that might make it more comfortable for you to stay in the village, and things that'll help you prepare for your trip. The first thing you need to know is on arrival at the airport, you're going to be using a prepaid taxi service to reach our house in Budonilkanta. You'll spend the first night there to rest and recover from travel before leaving for the farm the next day. Your room has everything you need. It's clean, it's comfortable. The beds, linens, towels, meals, and hot showers are all provided. The following day, one of our girls will put you on the local bus for a town called Madhavbesi. That's the nearest town to her farm. Your bus driver will have all the information necessary to stop in Madhavbesi and drop you off where someone will meet you. It's about an hour-and-a-half walk up to the farm, and we strongly suggest that you pack your things in either a backpack or a duffel bag. Roller wheel suitcases will not work there. The farm is located 4.5 kilometers from Madhavbesi, on the hillside halfway between Madhavbesi and Goganpani. The road is a rough four-wheel drive road, and sometimes we're able to offer people assistance with a vehicle to take you up, but part of the year the road is closed due to weather conditions, and it'll be necessary for you to walk. Once you reach her farm, your new home in Nepal, you'll be provided with 3 meals a day, mostly vegetarian, and prepared from locally sourced ingredients. There's plenty of safe, filtered drinking water, Western-style bathrooms, hot showers, all linens and towels are provided, and unlimited stunning views. Your hosts are the women who both own and operate her farm. Growing up a girl in Nepal is kind of a hard thing. In Nepal, they have arranged marriages, they have a dowry system. Suicide is the leading cause of death amongst women of childbearing age. Women are considered to be second-class citizens. There's 2 videos coming up next that'll tell you more about that. The first video is with Sunita, and she's going to tell you how her own childhood and growing up impacted her and caused her to want to start her farm. After that, you're going to hear from Susila, who lives at her farm, and she'll tell you more about what it was like for her growing up a girl in Nepal and the differences in life between boys and girls.
I'm Sunita, started her farm. I'm an unwanted child from my family because of I'm a daughter. My childhood I spent really badly. They raise me really badly. They treat me really badly. No enough food, no laws. Even I have to sometimes walk barefoot. They all things that happen to me because my family is not poor, because they don't like me because I'm a daughter. After all those things happen, my father did to me arranged marriage. That's the why I want in her farm all childrens, actually for girls, I want to give them lots of attention, love, cares, educations, fully with a freedomly. I want to raise them in here, same time in women's mental health track and other who's searching opportunity, those women's also fully support and love. That way I want to do all those work over here. And actually I'm doing coaching. Don't give up your life if you have a problem. Just if you willing to out of the problem, you can do it the same way I can, and then you can do it.
Hi, I'm Gia. I'm here at Her Farm Film Studios with Sushila. We are talking today about her interest in photography, as well as a new program that they're rolling out here for women community correspondents in the local villages. Thanks for talking to me today.
Thank you asking me and take time with me.
Can you tell me a little bit about what it has been like growing up a girl here in Nepal?
In Nepal, especially in a village, growing a girl like the me and my brother, we are like same, not much different age, just 2-3 years different by age, and we always treat. When I was small, we both go to school, and when we come back, my brother don't have to do like inside housework, and I have to work like that way. And when I get little bigger, mid of my school level, they try to like get married with some boy, because oh, you are daughter, you already the getting 17, you have to do marry with someone, it's our culture. They press me like that, and I didn't do that. And little later also, when I get married with someone in my husband house, I have to listen always my father-in-law and my husband, because I was woman over there, and it's not their fault, but they always treat like you are daughter-in-law, if you work outside of home, and the culture and society tell bad things, it's hard time for us. They always told me like that way, and always I feel, oh, I'm the second the person, I cannot decide what I have to do for myself. I feel like that way, and it's for all girls.
Yeah.
They have to listen the man and father, boy, brother, whatever they have.
Can you tell me a little bit about your interest in photography?
What I feel when I was a daughter and I was daughter-in-law, I feel like, oh, this is not good, and I have to change something for my culture and society for all women. That way, I just thought, I figure out what should I do for them, and I get answer if I went to the like remote village where I was born, and I go over there and I work with them with photo and video, and I can capture their emotion, feelings. Sometimes village women, they cannot speak their story, they cannot tell, because they are, most of them, they are scared, shy. In our culture, we cannot talk with the like openly with people, new people especially. That way, if I take photo, they don't have to speak, they don't have to tell their own story, just I can take out their feelings, emotion, and other people can show that. And that way I'm interested in photography. And now, I'm doing, it's working better.
I know you mentioned that you were married and you also have a son. Do you feel like women are more secure once they're married and have a family of their own?
It's same when they got married also. They have to listen their family, like husband and father-in-law who have in their family. For me, it's different. I'm working the different way than other, and I have land, I have money, I have some work. I know the good way. That way it's different for me. But for other women, they don't have, like in a village, when they are daughter and they didn't finish their study, and that time they get married, and after married also they cannot continue their education. That way they don't know much work from outside, and also family, they're not allowed to go outside. That way they don't have money, they don't have work, and they don't have any property in their name. So if they fight with family, where they should go? Parents' house always close after marriage, and marriage house also, husband house also, if they didn't listen their family, and where they should go. So it's not like same when they are daughter and same when they are daughter-in-law. It's not different.
With the new community correspondence program, you're going to be leading the charge, teaching women how to collect and capture stories in the local villages. Why do you think it's important for women to have a voice in the media and tell these stories?
In the media, there are few women reporter, but the mostly all media, it's control running by the men, and what they publish, they decide, men decide, women cannot decide. That way also we didn't get our own story in media. And the second things, if the female reporter come from city and try to the public our story on the media also, in a village we have traditionally, like, our culture is shy and scared. It's hard to, the open with the front of new people, and especially like, the camera, video, recorder, and other things. That's why, the if women, we teach them here how to use, those things on the media, and they can able to do that, and they can, take out one story themselves in good way. That's why more women need to in media.
Can you tell me what is in it and what motivates women to want to be part of the community correspondence program?
This program first, in a village, it's hard to earn money, and that way, their family allowed to come over here. That they can, when they learn, same time they get little money also when they work here, and that way they allowed to come over here, and it's near, so they can come here and they can earn little money, and they can convince their family slowly, and after that, they can, when they can handle totally all these things, and that they feel themselves powerful, strong, and that way, and they get strong, and slowly for the other people also, that they have to change their opinion, they have to think about it. Women also can do something, why we didn't think about it? And when the village women carry camera on their hand and around the village, and that time people should think, women also can do something, we have to think differently about them. That's why our program will work.
Thank you for joining me today and talking to me about kind of your perspective of being a woman in Nepal and some of the challenges you face living here and coming from a village. I learned a lot, and I think what you're doing with the community correspondence is really amazing and kind of taking a step forward to try to empower women and change the news perspective on women being storytellers here.
Thank you for giving time me and talking about the women empowerment program. Especially, in the end, I want to say, everybody have the culture and society things, and there is good thing also and bad thing also. When I was small, I just the feel why people does with this me, and do research and other things. I find out everybody have the good things and bad things, and we have to change it. That's why we starting the first powerful ourselves, find out the destination, and that way we're trying to help other women also.
And thank you.
That was Cecilia talking about her experience growing up a girl in Nepal. She also touched some on our Her Farm Film Studio, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Let's switch gears now and go to your role as a volunteer. Well, your number one job is to have fun with the people at Her Farm. It's the people there that you're volunteering with. The women of Her Farm are the project you're working on. Now, we do a variety of work there, such as tutoring children, helping the women improve their English. We have farming. We have lots of farming. We also have a world-class photo, film, and podcasting studio. And if you have those skills, you can teach any of those things. If you want to learn some of those skills, some of the women at the farm, like Cecilia, would be happy to teach you. We also have several computers at the farm, mostly Macs, and you can teach a variety of programs and software to women in the village, to the girls at the farm. People are always anxious to learn new things. Right here in this photograph, you see a volunteer from Australia teaching a couple of the girls how to use Photoshop. Every morning we have classes to assist the children with their homework. You'll go down to this little schoolhouse we have, and the kids all gather down there at 7 o'clock in the morning with their homework. And one of your roles as a volunteer is to help them with that homework, help them understand their lessons, help them to improve the English. And sometimes in the evening, we'll have adults from the village come, and they also want to learn English. Fun with the children is the best exercise you can do. And the women as well. They all love to sing and dance. The children love to play new games. In this photograph, you see a volunteer who was there conducting an acting class, helping the children to learn to open themselves up and express their emotions, express themselves, and be creative. The women love to sing and dance. They love to do yoga. And don't be afraid to help them in the kitchen either, and learn some Nepali cooking while you're there and at it. You can go to the local school and assist there and help out with the teachers. If you do that, be careful to be very respectful of the teachers and don't correct them on anything in front of the students. You know, English is not their first language, and they're probably going to make some mistakes. But we want to be careful not to let on to the students that the teachers made any mistakes, or the students may lose respect for the teachers. I want you to pay careful attention to this next slide coming up. It's really, really important, and it's the real essence of what it means to be a volunteer at her farm. This next slide, I think, is the most important slide in this whole orientation, and so I'm going to ask that you pay particular attention to it. How to be the best volunteer ever. You know, sometimes we come from the developed world with our own ideas, and we look at how things are done here, and we say to ourselves, well, why don't they do it this way, or why don't they do it that way? But not long ago, there was a volunteer having a conversation with a local school principal out in our village. And in that conversation, she asked the principal what he thought about the volunteers at the school and the things they were trying to do at the school. And he thought about that for a moment, and then he said, you know, I'm not really sure. I've never been outside of Nepal. I don't know what these changes would look like. I really don't understand what things are like in your country and in your world. And that's a critical point for you to understand as a volunteer. It's so easy to come here and see how things are being done and think to yourself, well, they should just change this, or they should just change that. But when there's no context for that change, when there's no frame of reference, when you're talking to people who have never seen the world outside of Nepal, it's very difficult to convince them that change is going to be better for them. In fact, I'll go a step further with that. In my 12 years of working here, one thing I can tell you is that the risk tolerance among poor people is very, very low. What I mean by that is people here have done things the same way for a long, long time. They may not produce optimum results, but they know that they can expect a certain result, and that certain result is within their financial safety zone. If we ask people, for example, in the village to change their farm practices, for the people that live in the village, how they farm is a matter of do they eat today or do they not eat today. So if I come along from the developed world and say, well, you should plant this instead of planting that, and you would yield more crops. If they've never seen that done, if they've never seen that planting take place, and they've never seen anyone get more crops that way, they're going to be shy, and they're going to be nervous, and they're going to be afraid of change. After all, what they plant is what they're going to eat. And if they change their crops or they change their method of farming, their fear is they're not going to eat. And they don't have a safety net for that. They don't have any way to recover from a failed crop. So when you're volunteering here, I want you to remember that how you're being is really more important than what you're doing. And if you can keep focused on that, you will have a great time here. Don't constantly worry about how people should change or what people should do differently. Take in what they're doing, observe what they're doing, enjoy what they're doing, and learn from what they're doing. Make friends with them, because we'll only take advice from friends and not from strangers. So don't come here as a stranger expecting to change the world. Come here as an interested observer, expecting to learn as much as you teach, and you will leave here happy, I promise. Okay, let's go over some rules of conduct at her farm. Now, you should have seen these rules of conduct when you were signing up. They're part of the required documents package. But there's a few things in here I just think bear repeating, so I want to go over them again. The first thing is that you're a guest in the home of these women. Really want to make this point strong. They are not your staff. It's their home. They've opened it up to bring you into it, to share their lives with you, their language with you, their food and their culture. So treat them as a guest would treat a host. We don't allow alcohol at the farm, and card playing should be done in your room only, because drinking and gambling have caused tremendous suffering in some families. Any sort of sexual innuendo, comment, behavior, suggestion, suggestive behavior, and so forth is forbidden. Fighting or shouting or other aggressive behavior isn't allowed. That kind of behavior could trigger emotional events in some of the women who've already suffered through years and years and years of that. Revealing clothing is not appreciated, such as short shorts or revealing shirts. You can certainly dress comfortably and casually in normal t-shirts, shorts, provided that they've got a little bit of length in the leg. That's all fine. Don't be too overly concerned about that, but bear in mind it's a conservative society. Men and women are put in separate rooms, and you need to remain separate. It's just not within the culture of Nepal for men and women to be in the same room together, unless they happen to be a married couple, of course. Be a good and decent person, behave like a house guest, help whenever and wherever you can, and ask for help if you need it as well. Some other things I want to cover quickly about her farm is we're more than just a farm for the women and the children. We're deeply involved in the development of the entire community. Right after the 2015 earthquakes, we gave tremendous assistance to people in the village to help them get back on their feet. We spent over $35,000 to improve the road. We spent $50,000 to install an entire new water system in the village. This now supplying over 35,000 liters of drinking water a day. We constructed a 2,500 square foot earthquake and disaster center. And in 2015, after the earthquakes, there were no places for people to be sheltered, but now there is. Your home at her farm has been a tremendous undertaking. All the facilities had to be brought up one by one in small trucks. We had to even bring in outside workers because the local workers didn't know how to do some of the construction required. It's been a fantastic project and many, many years in the making. So I hope you'll enjoy the place, and I hope you'll appreciate the hard work that these women have put into making her farm your home. Now, this is the end of part 1. That's the information about her farm itself. But stay tuned for part 2 and be sure and watch part 2 because we're going to cover a lot of practical matters, things that you need to know to adjust to culture shock, how to live comfortably, things you should be packing, things you shouldn't be packing, and things like that. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.